The Powerpuff Girls, a satirical anime series produced by Craig McCracken that aired on Cartoon Network in 1998, debuted one of the most diabolical villains to ever appear on kids' TV. Him. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding him. Did we really have a satanic, diabolical devil on kids' TV? Or was he just a dumb transvestite lobster? And if he was queer/trans, was his representation good or did it fuel some stereotypes? Today we're going to be diving deep into it, so grab your popcorn and some liquids to keep you hydrated. My very last video on this channel was addressing transphobia, where I talk about the basics of gender studies, and in light of that video, today I'm going to be talking about him, one of the most terrifying villains to ever appear on the small screen that disturbs the gender binary norms our society functions on. Gender binary, as in you can either be a man or a woman with nothing in between. The villain Him debuted in episode 3 of the Powerpuff Girls titled Octi Evil, and this is how the narrator describes him.
Oh, not... I can't say it! This is a villain so evil, so sinister, so horribly vile, that even the utterance of his name strikes fear into the hearts of men! The only safe way to refer to this King of Darkness is simply... him.
So this is the debut of His Infernal Majesty, him with a pink neck frill, a pink tutu, knee-high boots, and a goatee. And oh, he also applies makeup. He's called by the pronoun him, however his appearance and his mannerisms and the high-pitched voice that seems to reverberate a lot gives him a feminine grace. And let's be honest, nobody ever imagined the devil to be a drag queen. However, this contrast that incites laughter also incites terror and allure. You'll find various threads on the internet talking about how the villain Him terrified viewers and how a lot of viewers think that he should have been the main villain of the series because of his charisma and allure. So, if the devil is just a lobster drag queen, what is so terrifying about him then? It's the fact that he disturbs our framework of understanding bodies. His mannerisms, gesture, attire, everything is illegible and indeterminate. You cannot determine him as a man or a woman. He doesn't fit the standard norms, and this incites confusion, terror, but also intrigue. Even though the villain is called by the pronoun him, he denies performing the normative masculinities and so doesn't fit the parameters of either being a man or a woman. And this challenges the programming that was fed to us as kids about what constitutes being normal. That is, if you have a dick and you're a male, then you must be a man. And if you have a vagina and you're a female, then you must be a woman. I talk about the difference between gender and sex in this video of mine, so if you're not catching my drift right now, it's completely okay. You can always go watch this video or any other video that talks about the same topic. This so-called normalcy and basic understanding is challenged by him, and it causes terror because our brain mechanisms are encountered with a concept that is foreign to them, and anything that our brain doesn't know, it thinks of it as potentially dangerous. I don't know, it could be some ingrained evolutionary response that helped our ancestors survive in the savannah or something. However, the same feeling also causes intrigue, curiosity, and a desire to know the unknown, and honestly, that is what Him's character is, unknown. We don't know what he is, who he is, what dimension he lives in, what he's capable of, what clothing brand he uses, and what makeup brand he follows. Sure, I'm trying to assign labels like trans and queer on him, but these are just interpretations. Nobody for sure knows if he's the devil or just a lobster that likes to cosplay. And because him dawdles on the boundaries of unknown, he opens a previously unfathomable way of exploring gender. And then this creates fascination. Since him doesn't fit the gender norms, one can go on and on in their analysis about him, like me who decided to make an entire video on him, and still end up with more questions than answers. Now let's take a look at his representation. I'm going to be referencing some episodes here, starting with his debut episode, Octi Evil. In this episode, there ensues a chaos between Buttercup and Blossom
Shut up, Buttercup!
on who should be the leader of the team.
Well, I should be the leader anyway.
And Bubbles is distressed and upset as she wants her sisters to get along. Him, with his almighty omnipresence, sees this fight and uses it to his advantage. He then proceeds to manipulate Bubbles through her stuffed toy Octi. It's an octopus-shaped doll that Bubbles is very much emotionally attached to, and it's her favorite stuffed toy. Him talks to Bubbles through Octi and then manipulates her into feeding the chaos between her sisters.
Buttercup? What, Bubbles? Octi says you should do what you want to do. Don't follow Blossom. Octi, you're speaking my language.
And this is precisely what sets him apart from the other villains of the show. Unlike Mojo, who invents these big machines only to be blasted off in the end, him's arsenal is psychological warfare. He troubles the girls emotionally and mentally. With Mojo, the girls can rely on their brute strength to save the day, but he pulls to the surface their deepest, darkest fears. For example, the episode Power Noah. In this episode, all three girls are encountered with nightmares that constitute their insecurities. In Blossom's case, it is the fear of failure. Buttercup is frightened of spiders, and Bubbles, who loves her soft toys to death, she's always a sunshine playing with them, is deep down scared of turning into a stuffed toy herself. Him materializes their fears in their dreams, and their brute strength alone couldn't get them out of the Power Noah. They had to rely on courage, rely on each other, and most of all, conquer themselves. His schemes are so devious that the girls are always troubled to their core.
I know your deepest, darkest fear.
In the episode Birthday Bash, he casually comments, "Why destroy when I can torture?"
You destroyed no one. Yeah.
Why destroy what I can torture?
Him was ranked the top villain from the series in top 10, and this is what some viewers have to say about him. Him is a creature so wild, so sinister that he is to be frightened. Now, what does this all say? A satanic presence who is manifested with signifiers of trans/queer? Could this have fueled transphobia? Could the authors be subliminally trying to spread the message that trans or queer is something to be afraid of? We would never know why the authors decided to make him as such, but we can draw some conclusions, faulty as they may be, by taking into consideration the political context of the 1990s. 1993 was a time in the US when Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was instituted that allowed gay people to serve in the army, however prohibited any sort of homosexual activity. So basically, don't tell about your sexuality and don't ask about your sexuality. Keep it a secret. In response to Don't Ask, Don't Tell, on April 25, 1993, 800,000 to 1 million people participated in a march in Washington that argued for equal rights for the LGBTQ community, with posters and banners saying "Ask and Tell." There was also the Defense of Marriage Act DOMA, enacted in 1996, that defined marriage on a federal level as a union between a man and a woman and gave the states the right to not acknowledge same-sex couples and to openly discriminate against them. Remember, in the show, it was implied that him and Mojo may be in a gay relationship, raising the rowdy rough boys together. So, this all tells us that there was a lot of gay panic and transphobia in the 1990s. And then the showrunners decide to incorporate the trans and queer elements in their show, but they incorporate them into a villain, and that too the most terrifying of them all. Was this a good choice? Yes and no. No, because associating trans or queer with something that is dangerous, something that is unnatural and potentially associated with the devil, fuels the stereotype of committing a sin. And kids who do not fit the gender norms, like your neighborhood tomboy girl or that boy who likes to play with dolls, may feel the need to relinquish their hobbies and ways to be more normal. However, it was positive too in some ways, as little kids who are programmed with the gender binary norms, through him, they get to see new ways of gender unfolding. Like I said before, the character of him, along with inciting terror, also incited allure, curiosity, and fascination. And since he dawdled on the line of unknown, he was the best way through which kids could explore previously unknown genders. So I do think that incorporating trans or queer elements in the show, even if they incorporated them into a villain, did help expanding kids' ideas of gender and how they understand bodies.